tonight, the RM of Sherwood greenlights a major AI data center project despite protests. The struggle of securing funding for safety upgrades at a rural Saskatchewan train crossing. And a major canola processing facility opens up near Regina.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Lee is away tonight. Tensions flared outside an RM of Sherwood council meeting last night as protesters rallied to oppose a decision on a major AI data center planned for the Regina area. But plans for the center will still be moving ahead. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the details.
Whether it's the fear of AI or environmental concerns, close to 100 people were outside the RM of Sherwood's council meeting Monday evening, criticizing Bell Canada's 300-megawatt AI data center planned for the outskirts of Regina.
Does the community really want AI? It's just there to essentially replace workers and make human jobs obsolete?
I'm feeling pretty upset. It's frustrating. A lot of our community is very upset about AI data usage in general.
Shortly into the meeting, members voted in favor of its development agreement with Bell, the parent company of CTV News.
I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Moving forward with plans for the largest purpose-built data center in Canada, according to Bell, Interim Reeve Ray Orb says Council was confident in their decision after hearing from a group of local ratepayers.
Most of their concerns were incorporated within the agreement itself, but there were two things that were understood by us and Bell that we needed to elaborate a bit more on.
Those two things being water testing and noise levels.
The sound, the water, the drainage, none of those are reality based on our design. We're not using any water, 0 liters, right? We're not going to generate infrasound beyond our property line.
As part of Council's decision, Orb says data sovereignty is important for municipalities across Saskatchewan.
We have a good opportunity here to build something, and to us, it's a success story for the province.
Bell Canada says construction is scheduled to start this spring and will come online in stages beginning in the first half of 2027. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
A railway crossing in Churchbridge, where a young mother was killed weeks after her wedding last year, remains at the center of a struggle to secure funding for safety upgrades. Regina Declout has the details.
Following the recent death of Alyssa Thompson at this railway crossing in Churchbridge, the town is making small steps towards securing the dangerous intersection. Thompson died after colliding with a train late last year, just a month after her wedding.
They'd had hearings years ago and known that, there was government funding and grants and stuff out there. Why wasn't it applied for then, I guess? Or, why did it take another accident to sort of get the ball re-rolling on this again, right?
Alyssa's death was the second fatality at the Lovell Street crossing in just a few years, renewing calls to make the intersection safer.
The town was in contact with CPKC. They had a very fruitful discussion there, just trying to get a value as to what the new warning system may be on that crossing.
The price tag for a lighted crossing is now $460,000.
So we've applied for funding through provincial, I think it's an SGI grant or something, so we're waiting to hear back on that. And we're still waiting for some of the Government of Canada infrastructure programs to open up before we can move forward on the project.
The mayor says he knows there is still an active discussion around the crossing, but it's a big commitment to their small municipal tax base.
I think we're probably going to have a public meeting and get input from the community, because it's going to be a lot of money, to put this crossing in, and instead of, 7 people making the decision, it should probably be more the community.
Churchbridge resident called on CPKC to fund the upgrade. In their response to CTV News, CPKC said they remain engaged with appropriate stakeholders and advised that an automated crossing warning system could potentially be supported with funding from Transport Canada's Rail Safety Improvement Program or other federal provincial infrastructure funding contribution programs to municipalities and road authorities. The mayor hopes that they will know more by mid-July.
People are on board with it mostly, I understand there's a cost involved to the taxpayers, but if it saves a family member's life eventually, right, it seems like it's worth it.
For now, it is unclear whether the railroad upgrade moves ahead, and all anyone can do is wait. Regina, CTV News, Churchbridge.
Regina fire officials are set to provide an update tomorrow into a fatal carbon monoxide leak that resulted in the death of an 11-year-old boy. The incident happened at an apartment building downtown in December, less than a week before Christmas. It resulted in the death of 11-year-old Henry Losco. Regina Fire later found the incident was unintentional and caused by a boiler failure, which released a substantial amount of CO. Now the investigation is complete, and Regina's fire chief is set to discuss the findings tomorrow morning. We'll be carrying the update live on ctvnews.ca/Regina. Saskatchewan is dedicating the month of April to raising awareness for organ and tissue donations, launching a new campaign on the topic today. Damien Smith reports.
It's the launch of a new awareness campaign for organ and tissue donation. Kyla Thompson's daughter, Bella, also known as Bella Brave online, was a recipient of a successful bowel transplant. Bella passed away 1 year later due to an unrelated health complication, but her story and her mother's advocacy carries on.
Bella and I use our social media to help share her bravery with other kiddos in hospital. We also use those platforms for good, in a sense, in sharing any messages like these that would help other kiddos.
According to the Ministry of Health, one organ donor can save up to 8 lives, while one tissue donor can help up to 75 people.
My mom always encouraged me to draw, to practice and try harder with my writing.
Saskatoon artist Kevin Westquate uses art to honor his mother who passed away while on the transplant wait list.
Even today, like when I'm doing these paintings for the hospitals and such, I'm always, thinking about the next person and building that sense of belonging.
We recognize the importance of this for folks to have access to really something that could save their life at the end of the day and improve the quality of life and really the outcomes for themselves and their families.
The ministry also says that about 100 people are waiting for a life-saving kidney transplant and hundreds are waiting for ocular tissue surgery. They're asking for as many registrations as possible, as there is a 1 to 2% chance that a person may be eligible.
You have to be on a ventilator, on a breathing machine, in the ICU, or maybe an emerge that will later move to ICU.
Since the registry launched in 2020, more than 33,000 residents have registered, hoping to help kids like Bella Brave and other patients in need.
She would just be excited to be up here and talk to you all and see you all, and she'd probably tell a joke, make you all laugh as well, keep those smiles on your faces.
Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Regina residents may have spotted a small section of Wascana Centre on fire this afternoon, but no need to worry, it was all part of a prescribed burn. The controlled burn removes fuel from any possible future wildfires which may sweep through the area. It also reduces invasive species of grass. Fire serves as renewal for many species of plants, and today's weather conditions were ideal with manageable wind. Safety is paramount, and natural barriers such as creeks, lakes, and roads are used to contain the fire. Indigenous people have been using controlled fires as a tool for thousands of years.
They wanted to see bison come to a certain area, so they burned it. The grass that grew back was more palatable and nutritious. The bison understand that. They would go to that area. They want to rejuvenate a berry patch. They would burn those patches. The berries would come back more plentiful and abundant.
Volunteer firefighters from rural fire departments often attend these prescribed burns to help them learn how to better battle wildfires in their own communities. Sabine Ahmed joins us now for our first look at weather conditions in Regina and southern Saskatchewan. Sabine, today was the first day in 2026 that I wore a short sleeve to work. That's not going to last very long.
No, remember that one time you said you were putting your parka away? Yeah, you might want to bring it out for the end of this week. Yeah, like I've been saying, it's a copy and paste from what we saw last week. However, we're already starting to see warnings get into place for northern Saskatchewan. They're going to see the bulk and the most affected areas where we're going to see over 30 centimeters of snow, if not more, by the time this system is completely cleared out. But I will talk more about that coming up in your full forecast. Today in Regina, we warmed up to over 20 degrees. That is so much warmer than what our average usually is, which is about 12, 13 degrees. Now, that is going going to change. Tomorrow we have one more day where we could see those temperatures get into the 20s, and then we will start to see a big change and a shift where those temperatures will drop drastically, even getting below zero once again before the rain arrives, and then that rain transitions into snow for Thursday and Friday. If you were planning on changing your tires to summer or spring tires, you might want to hold off. I'll have details in your forecast. Cole?
All right. Thanks, Sabine. A Saskatchewan youth has been charged with threats made on social media. The suspect is a teenage boy who cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. He was arrested at a home in White City last week. The nature of the threats are not known, but he faces charges of counseling to commit an offense and uttering threats. The youth appeared in court on Monday. Regina police are looking for video footage of a vehicle fire in East Regina under investigation as arson. The fire happened at a residence in East Sandpiper Crescent in Regina's Creeks neighborhood on April 16th. The arson investigation is ongoing as police renew their call for information and video surveillance footage. Tips can be sent to Regina Police or Crime Stoppers. You've likely heard it said many times, Saskatchewan is an export-based economy, and Premier Scott Moe is hopeful the province can continue spreading its wings in the global economy. That was part of his message at a business conference in Regina today. CTV's Jacob Carr was there.
Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe delivered the keynote address to attendees at the Delta Hotel at this year's Food, Fuel and Fertilizer Summit. He emphasized how the province's companies are taking advantage of evolving opportunities and seeing success abroad.
Food, fuel, fertilizer. That is precisely what the Saskatchewan's role is in the world, is to be part of food and energy security supply chains for over 160 countries around the world.
One of those companies is Saskatoon-based Cameco, one of the largest global producers of uranium fuel. Cameco's president and CEO says that there's currently a global push to build nuclear reactors, including in India.
They have 8 gigawatts, that's like 8 large reactors, 8 gigawatts equivalent of nuclear power. They want 100 by 2047. Like, that's the growth we're seeing in our industry. So we're living in a different movie these days.
But uranium, not the only kind of fuel discussed at the summit. Saskatchewan's NDP is still concerned about the prices of filling up at the pump in the province.
We're continuing to press this government to do the right thing and to pass along some relief at the pumps to Saskatchewan families, farms, and businesses that are facing extraordinary costs right now.
The Canadian government's temporary suspension of the federal fuel excise tax has decreased gas prices by 10 cents, but Moe says the provincial government has more permanent tax relief in mind.
The approach that we have taken, and we've answered this many times, is for us to move in the way of much more permanent and long-term and sustainable tax reductions for Saskatchewan families year in, year out.
As for the growth that Saskatchewan's private investment has seen, the government says there was an increase last year of 12% to over $13 billion. That ranks Saskatchewan first among provinces. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Cargill's $350 million canola crush plant near Regina is now operating. According to the company, it means more market access for Western Canadian farmers. The plant has the capacity to process 1 million metric tons of canola into oil for food and renewable fuels and high-protein meal for animal feed every year. It supports more than 100 jobs in the Regina area through full-time employees and contractors. Cargill also operates canola crush facilities in Camrose, Alberta, and Clavette, Saskatchewan. Still ahead, vulnerable residents evacuated from a Manitoba First Nation over flooding concerns. And the Prime Minister names his new trade committee, which includes a former Regina MP. Some residents with medical needs are being taken out of Peguis First Nation north of Winnipeg ahead of anticipated flooding in the area.
3 of them left yesterday. The rest of them wanted to wait until today, and now today only 3 of that remaining group want to leave. So the rest of them are going to be just staying back in the community.
At this time, there are no current plans to evacuate more people, but leaders are preparing for that possibility. Chief Stan Bird says the Fisher River has risen slightly since yesterday, and warm weather today could add to water levels. According to the province, more than 500,000 sandbags and more than 11,000 super sandbags have been sent to the community. Meanwhile, a nearby RM says about 30 homes and businesses are also facing flooding risk. Flood concerns also impacting parts of Saskatchewan as the RM of Meadow Lake has asked for provincial help in its flood preparations. An emergency response officer with the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency is on the way to the RM. The SPSA also plans to send personnel and flooding equipment. The RM says it's a necessary precautionary measure as the community deals with flooding that has been reported in the area. The Water Security Agency has issued a high flow advisory for a large section of the province. Meadow Lake is under that advisory. Saskatchewan could soon have a new classification of judges. The province has introduced legislation to create associate justices of the Court of King's Bench. They will handle less complex matters that could speed up the court system overall. Wayne Mantika has more.
The Saskatchewan Sikh community says this was not simply a misstatement from the floor of the legislature.
And every Sikh resident of Canada that has heard about it is feeling the hurt because nobody, not and especially not someone who's been elected to elected to an office, should be calling another elected official a remark like terrorist.
The community is deeply concerned about what Saskatchewan Party MLA Raquel Hilbert called the federal NDP leader.
We did not hear the opposition denounce their federal leader as being a terrorist in India and denounce the collateral trade damage to West.
And that is a previous story. We will look to get the correct tape for you soon. With Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. also preparing for July's CUSMA negotiations, Prime Minister Mark Carney today unveiled a new Trade Advisory Council, a group of familiar political, union, and industry faces, including former Regina MP Ralph Goodale and the president of Saskatoon-based Nutrien. CTV's Michael Couture breaks down the mandate of this diverse, nonpartisan panel.
As the cross-border tensions ramp up in the playoffs, the Prime Minister is assembling his own team to enter the trade arena with the U.S.
I'm very pleased to have that group. It's a diverse group, leaders from the union movement, experts in industry.
Carney's reconstituted Canada-U.S. Advisory Committee brings together 24 CEOs, former politicians, and business leaders. Holdovers from the previous version include Unifor President Lana Payne, former Quebec Premier Jean Charest, and Flavio Volpe, President of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association. Now, there are plenty of new faces, including former Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole, the President of the Aluminum Association of Canada, Jean Simard, and the head of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce.
We can't forget about our small and medium enterprise businesses. That's 98% of our businesses, and so I look forward to sharing that perspective as part of the committee.
Hearing from people impacted by the Canada-U.S. trade war is key, according to the committee's chair.
I think it'll help our negotiations and it'll help the Government of Canada be informed in terms of these different perspectives.
A Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, didn't criticize the committee, but he did take aim at the lack of progress in the negotiations.
He's done absolutely nothing on this file in the last year other than use it to stoke fear and distract from his catastrophic failings here at home.
So how far behind is Canada in negotiations? Well, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer is meeting with his Mexican counterpart to discuss CUSMA at the end of May. There are no such meetings scheduled for Canada and the U.S. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
We're learning more today about a deadly shooting at a tourist site near Mexico City that left a Canadian woman dead and a dozen other visitors injured. Authorities now say the attack was not spontaneous and that the shooter came prepared. CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports.
Gunshots can be heard piercing through the air as screams echo from the base of the Teotihuacan pyramids as tourists run for cover. This all taking place at one of the most popular tourist destinations on the planet. The shooting was initially reported at 11:20 a.m. on Monday. This web camera recording of the historic site shows the first moments as visitors began to run for their lives. Let's go. A closer look shows the gunman pacing, holding the .38 caliber firearm he used to kill one Canadian. The deadly attack injuring at least 13 more, including a 29-year-old Canadian woman and a 6-year-old boy from Colombia. The Teotihuacan pyramids are located here, roughly 45 kilometers northeast of Mexico City, making it a popular day trip from Mexico's capital. The shooter has been identified as 27-year-old Julio Cesar Yasso of Mexico. Seen here carrying a backpack, Mexican authorities say inside they found pamphlets related to an infamous U.S. mass shooting.
A shooting up here at Columbine High School.
The Monday attack coinciding with the April 1999 anniversary of the Columbine High School massacre in Colorado, where 2 students opened fire, killing 13 classmates and 1 teacher. Today, Mexico's president shared her condolences with the family of the Canadian killed, as did Prime Minister Mark Carney.
We're working with Mexican authorities on the situation, but it's a sad day.
It's a day that many witnesses who survived are still coming to terms with.
Some of the tourists started screaming, ducking, and running.
While some ran, others jumped to a landing below, alongside the pyramid.
We kind of try to hold on with our hands and kind of extend our full body length and then let ourselves drop from there.
Following roughly 10 minutes of terror, the Mexican National Guard shot Ramirez in the leg as he climbed near the pyramid's peak. That's where he turned the weapon on himself and took his own life. With Mexico set to co-host the upcoming FIFA World Cup alongside the United States and Canada, there are now calls for tighter security measures in that country. Ottawa is calling on a prompt and thorough investigation. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Donald Trump has extended the ceasefire deadline with Iran. It was set to expire tomorrow. Trump also said the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz will continue. He made the announcement in a post on Truth Social, calling the government of Iran seriously fractured. Earlier, Trump told American broadcaster CNBC he thinks the U.S. is going to end up with a great deal with Iran, but a new round of talks now appears uncertain. A White House official says Vice President J.D. Vance has called off his trip to Pakistan. The RCMP say officers seized $5.5 million worth of cannabis products after a 2-month-long investigation into shipments using Canada Post. Police said officers searched 2 Ottawa homes in March, seizing nearly 500 kilograms of cannabis as well as psilocybin, edibles, tobacco, and other products. The investigation began when Canada Post found a parcel destined for the Northwest Territories containing a large quantity of cannabis and related products. 3 people from Ottawa were arrested, facing a slew of charges under the Cannabis Act, Criminal Code, and Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. Now, returning to a story we mentioned earlier, Saskatchewan could soon have a new classification of judges. Wayne Mantika reports.
The new Associate Justices of the Court of King's Bench will handle matters that the public typically doesn't hear about.
Sure. A large volume of work happens in chambers at the Court of King's Bench, so chambers applications, whether they're family matters, routine matters for adjustments to child support or access orders, things like that. Also civil matters that might go through the Court of King's Bench.
Saskatchewan joins its 2 neighboring provinces in creating a new category of judges. They will allow full-fledged justices to focus on more complex matters.
Their duties will be assigned by the Chief Justice. So in consultation with the Chief Justice and the Court of King's Bench, we were pleased to be able to introduce this act to create those new positions. And of course, 4 of those positions were announced as part of the funding in this year's budget.
Normally, Court of King's Bench justices are appointed by the federal government. The new associate judges will be appointed and paid for by the province.
This position is something that we can create provincially that will help alleviate those pressures.
The NDP is offering conditional support.
I do know that this is coming at the request of the courts. Anything that improves access to justice is a good thing.
The new appointments to the bench will come as courtroom workloads increase. The government attributes that in part to a growing population and increasing case complexity. The new judges will ensure more timely access to the courts. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Coming up, a closer look at the First Nations University's Spring Pow-wow on this week's edition of Indigenous Circle.
Welcome back. Let's get right into your forecast. There's a lot to talk about, and today was a beautiful day. Not much to say about today other than beautiful sunshine. Temperature currently still sitting in the 20s. 21 is what we're sitting at with the winds just under 20 kilometers an hour. It did warm up to 23 today, and tomorrow it does look like we'll see some warm conditions. However, the clouds are going to start to roll in. Now, I mentioned earlier we're already starting to see some warnings pop into northern Saskatchewan. We have some rainfall warnings where we could see up to about 25 millimeters of rain by the end of tomorrow, and then we have some snowfall or winter storm warning, so heavy snowfall along with high winds, and there's a yellow level which is around the L'Orange area, and then right along the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border we're seeing some higher levels of warnings there where it'll be a little bit more widespread and not just localized to one area. Now with the winds, with the heavy snowfall, some areas expecting up to about 50 centimeters of snow by the time the system is completely cleared out on Friday. There is also a possibility of some localized whiteout conditions. Now central southern Saskatchewan not seeing warnings just yet. Not to say that we're in the clear just yet, because I'm going to show you what's to come. Heading into this evening, we're still seeing clear conditions, and that'll continue until we get into tomorrow, and that's where we see the clouds rolling in and the start of this system. Now, again, you can see right there that it starts with rain, heavier rainfall expected in the north, but we're still seeing rain coming through parts of Swift Current. Regina expecting some rain tomorrow as well. And as that system continues north, we have more of this system kind of brewing right along here. I can't really fit into the screen, and you're going to see it start to move in. So heading into Wednesday evening, more rainfall, and that system that started out as rain is now transitioning into snow, and we'll see that completely transition into snow as we head into Thursday early morning to start, and then by Thursday first thing in the morning we've got rain first, then freezing rain, and then snow. But as we watch this system continue to develop, by Thursday afternoon we're seeing mostly snow, and we're going to see snow affecting most of Saskatchewan. You can see by Thursday evening central Saskatchewan, northern Saskatchewan, parts of southern Saskatchewan seeing that snowfall, and by Friday morning there it is. We've got quite a bit of snow expected, but just how much? Well, this is what we're expecting right now. Now reports and forecasts are there's still some uncertainty as to where the heaviest will fall, but it will most likely be in the north. But by the time we get into Thursday afternoon, you can see much of Saskatchewan expecting to see some of that snow. Assiniboia up to about 13, 7 for Regina, close to 10 for Moose Jaw. When all is said and done, and by the time we get into Friday morning, this is what we're expecting. So snow right across the board, and then by Friday late afternoon, close to 10 centimeters for Regina and Moose Jaw, close to 15 for Saskatoon, and even in the southwest they're expecting up to 5 to 6 centimeters of snow. So like I mentioned, if you're planning on switching out your tires, I know many people, this warm weather, it's starting to make them feel to get into the spring and summer conditions, but we're not in the clear just yet. Tomorrow, again, though, we're still expecting some warmer than average temperatures. The southwest still getting back into the 20s. 23 for Maple Creek, Swift Current, and Moose Jaw. In the southeast, still in the 20s. 25 for Estevan tomorrow. 24 for Assiniboia. 23 for Weyburn. For Regina tonight, a very warm low, 6 degrees, still above zero, and then warming up to 21 degrees tomorrow. However, if you notice, the winds are gusting up to 60 tomorrow, and then you can see the precipitation arriving Thursday. So by Wednesday evening, expect that rain to arrive later in the evening, and then we will start to see the mix of snow and rain, but winds still gusting up to 65 kilometers an hour could make an issue when it comes to visibility if you are doing any highway driving or driving even in the city. So make sure you're keeping an eye on the hotline there, highway hotline. Friday, mostly cloudy, but still expecting snow first thing in the morning into early afternoon. So keep that in mind, and temperatures dropping to -1 for Friday and Saturday, and then we return back into that warm up above zero to start your week. There are 3 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud on Monday, and then by Tuesday, close to seasonal, sunny conditions, and 7 is the expected high. But Cole, I do just want to mention, I couldn't even tell Cole, but I do want to just quickly mention that there is a possibility of more snow returning Sunday evening.
Greetings, everyone. To kick off the Pow-wow season, visitors from across Canada and beyond were in Regina celebrating the annual First Nations University of Canada's Spring Pow-wow. This year, the university is celebrating its 50th anniversary, marking a major milestone for alumni, staff, and students. CTV's Sierra D'Souza Butts has more.
Claude Friday takes pride in joining the Spring Pow-wow in Regina.
Beautiful event to help our university, help our people, our students.
With the ceremonial dance being a rich tradition for Indigenous people, Friday says he is proud to take the stage with people close to him.
I continue to follow that way and teach my family, my friends, my relatives, and continue dancing and for the betterment of our people and for everyone in the world.
Through song and dance, the First Nations University of Canada's Spring Pow-wow aims to bring people together while celebrating the start of the powwow season. With over 800 dancers participating, organizers say the event continues to grow larger every year.
Many people here from across Turtle Island that have come here just for that powwow. And the FNU Spring Celebration powwow is usually the first one that happens to start off powwow season for the year, especially in Saskatchewan. So I'm very glad to see a lot of dancers and past students here.
Brings together community, and I think that's really special. Robin Cody, a U.S. Navy veteran, says the annual event allows her to experience her culture, representing the Indigenous peoples in Canada who have served in the First and Second World Wars.
My grandfather, Tony Cody, was a veteran, and many veterans like him who paved the way. And I feel like it's so important as a veteran myself to continue that legacy and to come and represent veterans and to let our community know that we're still here and that we're still advocating and we're still pushing for rights of our community.
This year, the university also celebrated its 50th anniversary, marking a milestone for alumni, students, and FNUNIV staff.
50 years of Indigenous education, 50 years of resilience, 50 years of strength, 50 years of healing. I'm here for our current students, and I have to acknowledge the ones that have came before me and the ones that will come after me.
At this year's powwow, the Saskatchewan Roughriders also made an appearance with the Grey Cup. Families got the chance to capture a moment with the cup and a few of the team's players. Bringing everyone from various communities together, Friday says he hopes the powwow continues for decades to come.
I hope there's another 50 years and it keeps on going, and when I'm not here, that it still keep on going 150 years' time.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm Sierra D'Souza Butts in Regina.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Still ahead, controversy over a hiring decision at the University of Regina after a successful interim coach was apparently passed over. The University of Regina is investigating its hiring process after reports interim women's basketball head coach Michaela Kleisinger was passed over for the full-time position. The complaints stem from a letter from U of R alumna Kara House, who penned a letter to the university where she claimed Kleisinger was not promoted to the full-time position. Kleisinger was named interim head coach after longtime bench boss Dave Taylor left the program last summer. Under her leadership, the Cougars went 17-3 in the regular season before losing in the Canada West semifinals, failing to make the national tournament. In a post on social media, House claims some current players and commits have entered the transfer portal to leave the program, adding many have voiced their intentions to play elsewhere or not play at all. In response to CTV News, the university says it's aware that concerns have been brought forward regarding the national recruitment process for the head coach of the Cougars women's basketball team, saying the university takes the concerns seriously and will begin a review of the hiring process. CTV News also reached out to Kleisinger but did not hear back, while Haas declined an interview request due to the launch of the investigation. The defending national champion Regina Pat Canadians have back-to-back wins to start off the TELUS Cup.
Schultz, he scored!
After a 7-3 win in their tournament opener on Monday, the Pat Seas picked up another win this afternoon over the Halifax Max, as in McDonald's. That's their team sponsor. This was a closer contest. Maddox Schultz and Eli Heroux scoring 2 goals in the third to hold off a McComeback. Final score 4-3 Regina. The Pat Seas play Waterloo tomorrow at 1 p.m. Saskatchewan time. The Edmonton Oilers grabbed a 1-0 series lead on Anaheim with a late goal that came in regulation. Kasperi Kapanen notched the winner with 1:54 remaining, lifting Edmonton to a 4-3 win over the Ducks. It's the first time all season that the Oilers have won a game that Connor McDavid didn't record a point in. Game 2 in the series is in Edmonton tomorrow night. Known by names like surveillance or dynamic pricing, why Saskatchewan politicians are discussing the issue after the break. Welcome back. Let's take a look at what your rural forecast is looking like tomorrow. We're still seeing temperatures in and around the average for this time of year, but we're going to start to see those clouds rolling in, and by later in the day we will start to see the rain arrive in parts of central and southern Saskatchewan and other areas like Meadow Lake, Lloydminster, Spiritwood, Watrous, all expecting to see some rain starting your day, and cooler temperatures as well. Meadow Lake 4 degrees is the expected high, but then we will see warmer temperatures like Outlook at 19, 18 and a mix of sun and cloud for Kindersley, Wynyard 10 and a mix of sun and cloud, Melfort and Hudson Bay 7 and cloudy. When we get closer to the southern border, the temperatures are still going to be sitting in the 20s for much of southern Saskatchewan. 22 degrees for East End Cypress, mostly cloudy. 23 and a mix of sun and cloud for Maple Creek. 24 for Assiniboia Rockland. 18 for Broadview. Cooler for Kenora, 9 degrees there and mostly cloudy for Lumsden and Pilot Butte. 21 is the expected high there. Taking a closer look at Bruno, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, located about 95 kilometers east of Saskatoon. 8 degrees is the expected high with cloudy conditions, winds picking up gusting to 55 kilometers an hour. And by the time the snow arrives, between Thursday and Friday, Bruno could see up to about 15-20 centimeters of snow. The reality of AI pricing is making its way into everyday life, and it has some in government trying to limit the effects, while experts say some companies get away with it more than others. Carla Shinkaruk explains.
Also called surveillance pricing or dynamic pricing, it's when companies change prices in real time based on consumer habits and algorithm. David Williams from the Edwards School of Business at the U of S says it's happening online, but has not seen it yet in physical stores.
And Amazon uses it and gets away with it because we don't know it's happening. When it happens with Ticketmaster or Uber, we get angry.
Grocery chains now have the technology, with some rolling out electronic shelf tags, and many people are already buying groceries online. But Williams says grocery chains are holding back.
They're not really adopting it now because of the risk of bad publicity.
In Manitoba, legislation has been introduced to protect against AI or surveillance pricing, and Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe said this Tuesday in question period.
We've engaged with the federal government on real initiatives that can help control the inflationary price that Saskatchewan families and Canadians are seeing at the grocery store when it comes to online predatory pricing.
The Consumer Protection Division of the Financial and Consumer Affairs Authority of Saskatchewan say there has been no reported complaints of surveillance pricing impacting consumers in Saskatchewan. They will monitor developments, adding Saskatchewan has strong consumer protection measures to guard against unfair business practices, including prohibitions against misleading or deceiving consumers. On the street, reaction is mixed, with some shoppers unaware and others concerned about what it could mean for their wallet.
I personally have not noticed it, but it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if that was actually happening.
We pay enough as it is, so you're trying to get the best prices you can, but at the same time, if AI is trying to outsmart you to make you pay more, yeah, that's a concern.
For now, experts say transparency will be key as technology continues to shape how and how much we pay. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
All right, time now for a look at your farm markets. The street price of canola was up a little bit, lost some momentum today to $671 per ton. The futures price is at $721 per ton. Street Street price for Amber Durham wheat, most commonly at $278.59. Red Spring wheat was up at $289.21 per ton today. No changes for feed barley, which remains around the $250 mark. Same goes for flax at the $630 mark. Your money markets, the TSX was down 551 points today to 33,803. The Dow Jones down 293 points to 49,149. The Canadian dollar also trending down today to 73.15 cents U.S. Moving on now to commodities. Gold was down about $100 an ounce today. West Texas Intermediate crude up $2.25, just shy of the $90 a barrel mark, while Western Canadian Select crude was up to $68.48 per barrel. Gas prices in Regina are on a downward trend. Most commonly, you'll find them at $159.4.
Washington collected about $160 billion U.S. dollars in tariffs that the U.S. Supreme Court later deemed illegal. Walmart's filing a claim. It's owed an estimated $10 billion. Nike could get a $1 billion refund. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says about a third of Canadian exporters paid hefty tariffs because their goods did not qualify under the CUSMA exemption. Refund claims go through U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Still in the U.S., Amazon is getting in on obesity care. It has a primary care division called Amazon One Medical. Patients can get a virtual appointment with a doctor and then get their weight loss medication delivered to them right away. Its prices are set to be comparable to other pharmacy providers. 3M, maker of Post-it notes, reported earnings. Sales are up over 1% year over year, hitting $6 billion in its latest quarter. Besides stickies, the company makes roofing products and electronic materials, but has been working to pivot and add more data center products to its list. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Coming up tonight on CTV, we have Will Trent and then RJ Decker, back-to-back of shows named after, I assume, the main character?
Yeah, RJ
Will
Decker.
Trent, I can verify. RJ Decker's a new one.
RJ Decker, I can verify.
Okay.
It's giving very much like Tom Selleck, Magnum.
See, that's teamwork. That's teamwork. After that, we have High Potential, then the Big Bang Theory, E-Talk, and then, of course, your late night news with Connor Chan at 11:30. Well, tomorrow night, the Yorkton Terriers will welcome the Flin Flon Bombers for Game 3 of the SJHL Championship after the Terriers dropped both games 1 and 2 at the notorious Whitney Forum, also known as the Zoo.
I love this. Flin Flon coming together to send their team off on the 5.5-hour road trip to Yorkton today, lining the road in a chorus of honks, cheers, and sirens. The Bombers haven't won the SJHL Championship since 1993, despite making 5 appearances in the finals in the last 10 years. It's so nice to see the entire community come together to cheer them on. You know, and Flin Flon always comes out for their team. That 5.5-hour drive, nothing. Love. They will drive 8 hours, 10 hours, as long as it takes. There will be Bombers fans if the Bombers are playing anywhere in Saskatchewan. I love to see that. Okay, well, from one ice to another ice, hey? Oh, hey, there you go. A new stunt today from Canadian rapper Drake. So this is a massive ice sculpture in downtown Toronto. Now, somewhere inside the ice is the release date of the Toronto rapper's next album called Iceman. However, despite people chipping away all day and some even trying to use flames, as we saw, Drake did end up posting the date of May 15th on his social media just within the last hour as people have been trying to chip away at this. I don't know what the goal was or like when it was supposed to melt, but clearly Drake wanted to move things along a little bit. Toronto's been getting snow, so chances are it might not melt easily. Wouldn't it be funny if he is in there? Just hanging out in like an igloo. Have a good night.